Kenya's story starts a long, long time ago, millions of years in the past. Imagine the Great Rift Valley. It's called the cradle of humankind. Right here, the earliest humans took their first steps. We know this because of fossils found in Turkana and Olduvai Gorge. These fossils tell the story of our ancestors, how they used tools and learned to grow food. They started living together in groups. That's how Kenya's journey began. These early groups traded with each other, sharing what they knew and how they did things. Slowly, these groups grew bigger, and their cultures became richer and more interesting. This is the beginning of Kenya's amazing history. Before the British came, Kenya was a place with many different people. Lots of tribes called this land home. Each tribe had its own special customs and language. Some of the biggest groups were the Kikuyu, Luo, Luhya, Kalenjin, and Maasai. They shaped how people lived together in Kenya. These groups lived close to nature. They farmed, raised animals, and traded with each other. Their lives depended on the land, and that connection to the land is still really important in Kenya today. The Swahili coast, next to the Indian Ocean, was a busy and exciting place. Cities like Mombasa and Malindi were important trading centers. People came from Arabia, India, and even faraway China to trade. The Swahili coast connected Kenya to the rest of the world. A new culture was born there, a mix of African, Arab, and Persian ideas. You can see it in the buildings, hear it in the language, and experience it in the traditions. The Swahili coast has a unique and special culture. In the 1800s, things changed. European countries came to Africa. They wanted Kenya's land and resources. At a meeting called the Berlin Conference, from 1884 to 1885, European leaders decided that Kenya would be controlled by Britain. This was a very hard time for Kenyans. Many lost their land and were made to work for the British. Traditional ways of governing were taken away. This was the beginning of a long struggle. Kenyans didn't just accept British rule. They fought back in many different ways. Some Kenyans created political parties. They asked for more rights and freedom. Others fought with weapons to free their country. The Mau Mau uprising was a very important moment. This fight showed the world that Kenyans would not give up until they were free. Many brave men and women gave their lives. Their struggle made independence possible. On December 12, 1963, Kenya became independent. It was a day of great celebration and hope. Jomo Kenyatta, a hero of the independence movement, became the first president. He led the country in its early years. Building a new nation was a big job. Kenya had many problems. There were differences in wealth and disagreements between tribes. The government tried to bring everyone together and create opportunities for all. In the last few decades, Kenya has changed quickly. Cities have grown bigger. Technology has changed how people live. Kenya is now a leader in mobile money and new ideas. Even with challenges, Kenya has done amazing things. People are living longer and more people can read and write. Kenya is a country that is moving forward. Kenya still has problems to solve. Things like poverty, corruption, and inequality still exist. Climate change is hurting the environment and how people make a living. These are difficult problems that need clever solutions, but even with these challenges, Kenyans are strong. They are working together to build a better future for themselves and their children. Kenya has a plan for the future. It's called Vision 2030. This big plan hopes to make Kenya a middle-income country. It focuses on growing the economy, helping people, and having a good government. Vision 2030 shows how strong and determined Kenyans are. It shows they want to overcome challenges and create a better future for everyone. The journey continues.